Good evening, I'm Andrew Chang. Adrian is away. As of today, if you live in Ontario, you're going to need proof of vaccination a lot more often.
Being short-staffed to begin with, I'm now going to have to designate somebody at my door.
The business is struggling to adapt, and some customers breathing a sigh of relief.
I felt like this was the only kind of answer to let us live a normal-ish life.
I'm not wearing a mask for my own religious beliefs.
Anger and division in a small Manitoba town over masks and vaccines.
I would like just to drop the restriction and just go forward.
It's gotten so bad, the police chief is calling for calm. A critical push in under-vaccinated communities.
We cannot rely on social media or the radio.
How these volunteers are helping to get shots into arms. Plus, lava continues to cut a devastating track in the Canary Islands. Why there's a new threat when it hits the ocean.
You can imagine throwing water onto a frying pan.
This is The National. Well, just a few months ago, the idea of provincial and territorial vaccine passports was novel, and to some leaders, even extreme. But they're gradually becoming the norm across Canada, and as of today, are required in 2 more provinces. People in Ontario and New Brunswick who can get vaccinated now have to prove that they've done it if they want to go do things like go to a gym or dine in at a restaurant. But as with every passport program before it, it's creating challenges. In Ontario, it all has businesses pivoting once again to enforce the new rules. And as Jacqueline Hansen shows us, some say the government needs to help.
For this ICU nurse, having to show proof of vaccination at her gym is a welcome change.
I felt like this was the only kind of answer to let us live a normal-ish life.
The owner says the new rule may keep some members away, but most are already used to COVID safety checks.
Members here go through a temperature check, go through a screening process, and then send them in.
The new requirement comes as the weather is changing and more activities will move indoors.
But still, capacity limits aren't budging. Ian Smith thinks they should.
Small businesses have taken more than enough, so we need to look at that yesterday.
But at this restaurant, it's a challenge to keep up as it is.
Being short-staffed to begin with, I'm now going to have to designate somebody at my door, probably be me, to be checking IDs and passports.
The Canadian Federation of Independent Business wants the $1 billion promised by the federal government to help businesses now with staffing and de-escalation training.
Many of them feel that it's a responsibility that's been downloaded onto them without the tools to make it work on the ground.
My counter girls, honestly, were scared. They were very nervous about what if I ask somebody and, there's a confrontation.
That's why the owners of this restaurant have closed the dining area and switched to takeout and delivery only.
This has nothing to do with whether people are vaccinated or not, whether we support it or not. This is just listening to our staff.
Ontario's premier underscored the vaccine passport is temporary.
But I don't want to do it a day longer than we have to.
But he didn't outline what criteria the province would have to meet. Back at the gym, this nurse hopes the new rule convinces more people to get the shot.
Because I can't take it anymore at the hospital.
400-meter row. So life can begin to return to normal there, too. Jacqueline Hansen, CBC News, Toronto.
New Brunswick's vaccine passport came into effect today as it reported 76 new COVID cases. That is its highest one-day count of the entire pandemic. Under the new rules, people 12 and older need to show proof of full vaccination to access indoor and outdoor dining, movie theaters, gyms, long-term care homes, plus indoor weddings or funerals. Masks are also now mandatory in any indoor public space.
We can't lead by example if our own staff are not double vaccinated.
More than 170 hospital staff in Windsor, Ontario have been suspended without pay for missing a deadline to get at least 1 dose of the COVID vaccine. Officials say the decision was made to put the safety and well-being of patients, the community, and team members first. Workers will have until early October to get a shot or lose their jobs altogether. COVID restrictions, including a vaccine passport, are getting major pushback in the southern Manitoba community of Winkler. As Karen Pauls shows us, there is so much anger. Police are calling for calm and doctors thinking of leaving.
For this Winkler area farmer, dealing with this summer's drought was tough.
$3 is the total.
But he says the battle over COVID-19 restrictions has been harder.
My family, the adults are all double vaccinated, and we wear masks when appropriate. But I know there's some issues in the community, and there's some hard feelings about it.
It doesn't take long to find them.
I'm not vaccinated, and I'm not planning to. I would like just to drop the restrictions and just go forward.
About 41% of Winkler residents have been fully vaccinated. In the surrounding areas, that drops to 23%.
3 Americanos and 2 pumpkin spice lattes.
It's created tension for businesses now required to ask for proof of vaccination. Many have closed indoor dining so they don't have to.
With the state of our community right now, I didn't want to have to tell presumably more than half of my customers that I'm not able to serve them.
There have already been confrontations.
I'm not wearing a mask for my own religious beliefs.
Winkler's police chief is calling for an end to the anger and resentment, saying drug traffickers and career criminals are more respectful to law enforcement than people protesting the public health orders.
We get so much pushback, people driving by that maybe aren't even involved in the incident, yelling profanities at the officers.
During the election campaign, thousands rallied here with the People's Party of Canada, pushing back against vaccine mandates. The local PPC candidate won 22% of the vote. It all has some local doctors considering leaving, including colleagues of this one.
To seemingly not trust us on what we think we've learned about the pandemic, the virus, the vaccine, how we're going to get out of this, it's a little difficult.
Community leaders are appealing to the majority of people they say just want to do the right thing. But both sides say they're fighting for something worth defending, and they're not planning to back down. Karen Pauls, CBC News, Winkler, Manitoba.
Alberta's pandemic has captured headlines with good reason, and it's still getting worse. More than 1,000 COVID hospitalizations now, by far the highest in Canada. But it's got company in crisis. If you look at today's hospitalization rates per capita, the stress in Saskatchewan is almost as severe. In fact, compare them to the worst COVID hospitalization rates Canada has faced over the past year. Quebec during the winter, Ontario during the spring, Manitoba during both seasons. And you see Saskatchewan and Alberta are together, now approaching record territory. Like Alberta, Saskatchewan's government recently announced new policies, including a vaccine passport to help curb the virus. But as Omira Issa explains, some doctors are calling for more urgent action, even a return to lockdowns.
Woo! You wanna go swimming? Jackson Andrews spent the first 3 months of his life in the hospital. Diagnosed with the George syndrome, a genetic disorder, he's been in and out since.
So it's caused a bunch of issues in his throat, mouth, swallowing issues, and currently he doesn't speak.
Doctors say Jackson needs an operation, but after waiting a year, they've just had to cancel it. Jackson isn't the only one who will have to wait. Saskatchewan continues to see record numbers of cases of COVID-19. ICUs are overflowing with COVID patients. Surgeries are being canceled across the province. Now, adult COVID-19 patients are being transferred to the province's only pediatric intensive care unit. The premier said new measures announced last week, including a vaccine passport, a mask mandate, and an effort to expand ICU capacity, will help.
Frankly, that Saskatchewan residents have a right to be able to access cancer surgeries, heart attacks, things that cannot wait, things that need to be dealt with.
This infectious disease specialist isn't convinced.
This particular point in time, with our curve continuing to rise quite dramatically, I just don't have confidence that, what was done last week is going to be enough.
Dr. Alex Wong and others are now calling for a lockdown. Jessie Andrews says her son can't wait any longer.
Oh, sorry. The biggest thing for us is his quality of life. Either way, if this surgery was going to help him speak or communicate better.
Okay, so Omira, where does this leave Jackson and his parents?
Well, they don't know when they'll be able to reschedule their son's surgery. And that uncertainty, Andrew, is very painful for them. But it's also a pain that's shared by so many people right here in Saskatchewan, particularly healthcare workers. The Saskatchewan Union of Nurses said today that nurses are completely overwhelmed and they're very worried about their patients' future, the ones with COVID-19 and the ones without it.
Okay, Omaira Issa, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Now, the COVID crisis has had political consequences for Alberta's Premier, Jason Kenney. Tonight, we've learned he will face a leadership review. Kenney's United Conservative Party will hold a general meeting and a vote on his leadership next spring. That's months earlier than planned. A letter announcing the move cited anger and frustration from party members over his management of the pandemic. Well, in the United States, President Biden has pledged to nearly double his country's global donation of COVID-19 vaccines.
To beat the pandemic here, we need to beat it everywhere. And I'm keeping the promise that America will become the arsenal of vaccines. The United States is buying another 500 million doses of Pfizer to donate to low and middle-income countries around the world.
The additional doses brings the total planned U.S. donations to $1.1 billion. Biden made the announcement during a virtual COVID summit with other world leaders, which included Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. It comes amid growing criticism of richer countries and the fact that many of them are planning to run booster shot campaigns before much of the world has even received their first doses. Okay, now to the election here in Canada. The CBC News Decision Desk is confirming more election results tonight after the vote counts on Monday night left 18 ridings too close to call. Kevin Vaughn has won the Toronto riding of Spadina-Fort York. He ran as a Liberal, but the party cut ties with him just days before the election after news broke that he had failed to disclose to the Liberal Party that he had been charged with sexual assault in 2019. That was a charge that was later dropped. Vaughn said today he intends to keep his seat as an independent. We also now know who's going to win the race in Fredericton. Jenica Atwin of the Liberals coming out on top. She's the former Green MP who defected to the government side this June. And Randy Boissonneau, one of two Liberal breakthroughs in Alberta, also officially claimed victory today when his Conservative opponent conceded. Now, there are some undecided races around Vancouver as well, but even before the dust settles, one trend is pretty clear. The Liberals made inroads there by driving out Conservatives. Renee Filipponi shows us why it happened and whether it could last.
Nice to meet you.
So now what?
Parm Bains is meeting with some of the voters who helped him take the riding of Steveston-Richmond East away from the Conservatives. Susan Barclay voted Liberal, even though she was upset to be voting at all.
I voted strategically because I didn't necessarily want a change of government at this point when we have so many issues to deal with.
Bains is one of a handful of Liberals to flip Conservative seats in Metro Vancouver.
We're really grateful for the team that came out, knocked on every door in the riding, and we got great support from the leader, Prime Minister, came here 2 times.
Welcome to Steveston.
The Liberals targeted these Conservative ridings with multiple visits and progressive policies.
So we knew that if we talked about climate change and the serious plan that we had, as well as protecting people when it came to fighting against the pandemic, we were going to be successful here.
But experts say there is more to it than just strategy. Demographics are at play as younger families and educated professionals move to suburban ridings.
People are more affluent, and along with that often goes the kind of values that are more to the center left, and the Liberals can pick up in those places.
And for this demographic, housing affordability is key.
Well, so many great candidates.
Conservative insiders say Aaron O'Toole missed the mark on it. There is also belief his tough stance on China may have cost votes in Richmond, where a vast majority of the residents are of Chinese descent.
It's very difficult to be seen to be anti-China without being anti-Chinese for a lot of people in that community.
It's unclear if this increase in Liberal seats will lead to more sway for BC issues in Ottawa. There will be a better sense of that once Trudeau announces his new cabinet. Renee Filipponi, CBC News, Vancouver.
An Ottawa bus driver involved in a fatal 2019 crash has been found not guilty of all 38 dangerous driving charges she faced.
Ms. Diallo did not commit a crime. She did her very, very best under unbelievably challenging circumstances.
Lawyers for Aissatou Diallo say the 38-year-old should never have faced charges and argued the crash was caused in part by glaring sun, ice, and snow. 3 people were killed and nearly 24 injured when that double-decker bus crashed into a bus shelter overhang. An Alberta man says he's determined to force changes in the criminal justice system just 6 days after his wife and young son were found dead in the apartment of a convicted sex offender who lives in their building. Paige Parsons tells us what the grieving father hopes for and why there will be pushback.
A father and husband gutted by a loss he believes was preventable.
My family ended up in harm's way for no reason. Nobody was there to protect us.
24-year-old Mikhail Bush and her 16-month-old son Noah were killed last week in Hinton, Alberta, west of Edmonton. RCMP say their bodies were found in the apartment of next-door neighbor Robert Keith Major, a convicted sex offender. Major faces second-degree murder charges. On the day of Major's bail hearing, McConnell's family and colleagues showed their support in the wake of his tragedy.
You know, I got a 11-month-old at home, and, you know, it really hits home for all of us.
Major's bail was denied. Edmonton police had warned Major was at risk of reoffending when he was released in 2017. The conditions around that release expired last year.
In honor of my wife and my baby boy, we're going to work to make change and save lives.
McConnell wants public access to the National Sex Offender Registry database, which is maintained by police and accessible only to them. He also wants changes to rental laws so that tenants can find out if a registered sex offender lives in their building. This criminal defense lawyer is sympathetic, but says making that information public could work against rehabilitation.
If they don't have a place to live, if they don't have employment, they're less likely to succeed and more likely to reoffend.
Running a sex offender out of town, she says, is at odds with the goal of reintegration. McConnell finds that hard to accept.
How many chances did they deserve?
He says he'll fight for justice for his own family and to protect others. Paige Parsons, CBC News, Edmonton.
Well, for one Indigenous teenager in Winnipeg, protesting Canada's national anthem has been a daily part of her life for years. But this year, everything changed when she was punished for it. Jill Kubra shows us what happened.
Skyla Hart's favorite subject is choir, but the grade 10 student won't sing O Canada. She won't stand for it either.
This country is a colonized country, and I don't want to stand for a colonized country.
She made the decision 5 years ago to honor her Cree and Ojibwe culture, a stand against the ongoing injustices against Indigenous people.
People always say, like, it was a long time ago, but, like, that doesn't matter if it's still, like, we're still, like, going through it, all the trauma from it.
It's never been an issue until this year. First, she was pulled from class by a teacher and sent to the hall.
I would still be standing for O Canada if I stand in the hallway, so I chose to sit down in the hallway.
That's when she says another teacher yelled at her to get up. She was reprimanded again for walking to class while the anthem played.
Made me feel upset and angry.
Skyla's mom is upset too, but not surprised.
To me, this is just an extension of residential school, as we're still oppressing our children not to be able to practice who they are.
Raven Hart knows the painful legacy of residential schools firsthand. She attended one. So did her mother.
So it's not like it was a long time ago. It very much affects our family. And I think that the fact that Sky decided to take a seat during O Canada is very courageous.
Raven thinks no child should have to stand for O Canada.
O Canada was built on, you know, the demise of Indigenous people, the disposition of Indigenous people from their lands, from their language and their culture. And we really need to recognize that.
The school division says it offers complete support to Skyla. And Skyla says the school principal wants her to help inform the school about the reason she sits.
I would really like to have the opportunity to educate my school.
Skyla is now free to sit for O Canada. She says it would take a new anthem to get her to stand. Jill Kubra, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Well, a sigh of relief from markets today after an announcement from Evergrande. One of China's biggest companies says it will make a payment on its debt due tomorrow, but more deadlines are coming. And as Peter Armstrong shows us, the multi-billion-dollar giant is in danger of collapse, and global markets could feel the impact.
It's hard to find a more perfect metaphor for China's real estate market. The market's so oversupplied, it's easier to demolish stalled developments like this than to figure out what to do with them. After a decades-long construction boom, one estimate suggests there are enough unsold properties in China to house 90 million people.
It is certainly a source for concern.
If real estate in general is cause for concern, the enormous developer Evergrande may be the trigger. The sprawling company has built thousands of buildings. It owns a soccer club, a water company, even a cosmetics company. It also owes at least $300 billion, and if it can't pay its debts, many fear such a huge company will drag others down with it.
The worst case scenario, of course, nobody probably want to see that because it will have ripple effect around the globe, is for the company to default, to essentially just go bankrupt.
Employees and investors have taken to the streets demanding their money back. The very idea that Evergrande is in trouble wreaked havoc on markets.
I don't think you're going to see a complete meltdown. You're certainly going to see a correction in nervous global stock markets, which frankly, we're already nervous because of Delta.
So all eyes are on Evergrande and its latest debt payment it may not be able to cover. There's speculation the Chinese government may step in to help, but it hasn't yet.
The government wants to teach a lesson.
The question now is how far Beijing is willing to go. The risk here isn't just one company. The risk is that real estate, one of the biggest drivers of China's economic growth, has run out of steam, and that Evergrande is just the beginning of a deeper, more profound crisis. Peter Armstrong, CBC News, Toronto.
Well, a volcano erupting on a Spanish island has already destroyed hundreds of homes and sent thousands fleeing. But there is growing concern about what happens next.
You can imagine throwing water onto a frying pan, the water just flashes to steam.
Why experts are warning more dangers could lie ahead. Plus, a critical stretch in the race to immunize Canadians.
You have to be persistent and say, okay, what are your questions?
Coming up, how a targeted approach is taking it one strategic shot at a time. And a pandemic reunion and the dance lesson that caught these lifelong friends by surprise. We're back in 2. Residents of the small Spanish island of La Palma can only watch and wait as a slow but unstoppable destructive force closes in on their homes, a massive moving blanket of lava. At least 150 homes effectively destroyed as the lava continues its relentless downhill crawl towards the Atlantic Ocean. Thousands have been forced to flee, and officials have issued a pretty blunt warning. Stay away. Now, for those forced to get out of the path of the lava and ash, the loss is devastating. But as Chris Brown tells us, there's more danger to come.
On the island of La Palma, rivers of molten rock are swallowing up people's lives and homes. The Cumbre Vieja volcano began erupting over the weekend, sending slow-moving tendrils of lava through communities, incinerating everything they touched. Today, those eruptions took a more violent turn, with smaller but more intense explosions. I feel like crying. Families have lost everything. There's a pain in my stomach I can't explain, said this distraught jewelry shop owner. Clouds of searing ash, molten debris, and the lava too, of course, are all dangers, but scientists are also on alert for dangerous gases, such as carbon dioxide. For now, the worst of the sulfur and CO2 remains near the crater summit, 3,000 meters up, said the emergency response director. But what if all that lava reaches the ocean, as could happen within days or even hours, depending on its speed? It took out the swimming pool the other day, vaporizing the water inside instantly.
You can imagine throwing water onto a frying pan, the water just flashes to steam. And so this is what happens when lavas, which are at, in this case, probably 900 to 1,000 degrees Celsius, enter the ocean. It flashes that water, that ocean water, to steam, and it creates what's called volcanic fog.
That would become yet another toxic danger for those on the island.
As soon as you evaporate seawater, it's very chlorine rich, that's why it's very salty, and all that going into the atmosphere produces hydrogen chloride, HCl, which is a strong acid.
6,000 of La Palma's 80,000 residents are already out of their homes and may not go back for a long time. Chris Brown, CBC News, Glasgow.
Okay, so that's the situation on the ground, but what happens next? Well, CBC News meteorologist Johanna Wagstaff is here with a look at some possible outcomes. So, Joe, where could things go?
Well, Andrew, we do have a lot of clues to tell us what's happening underneath the volcano, the plumbing, so to speak. Because this is a known active volcano, we have a huge array of scientific instruments already in place. And one of our biggest clues, earthquake. Yesterday, we saw an increase in the seismic activity in those monitoring stations around the volcano. That told us today we were going to see more explosive activity. And indeed, the intensity of the explosions has really ramped up in the past 24 hours. We're also noticing how the land actually deforms around the volcano, and due to heat sensors, there's a lot of magma still at play underground. We're also monitoring the sulfur dioxide, and satellites are monitoring the actual track of that lava as it makes its way down to the ocean. So, Andrew, all of these tools telling us this volcano is not stopping anytime soon.
And can I ask you just on that last point there? I mean, we heard a moment ago, Chris mentioned this fear, right, of what happens when the lava does meet the sea. So, you know, do we have any sense of when that might happen?
Yeah, still an ever-changing situation, highly volatile, but we know because of those satellites, this lava stream is about 600 meters wide and moving at about 4 meters an hour. So likely still well over a day before that lava hits the ocean and we get that chemical reaction. But scientists are surprised with how much magma this volcano is producing, much more than previous eruptions. At least we know that we will get a couple hours notice at the very minimum before it hits the water.
Okay, Johanna Wagstaff, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Well, it's a critical phase in the push to immunize Canadians using a more targeted strategy.
We have to go where the workers are, the spaces that they visit, the places that they transit, where we can find as many people as we can.
Coming up, a hyper-local approach to convincing those who are still hesitant. Plus,
students are generally supportive of this program. They want to stay safe and they don't want another outbreak.
how mandatory vaccination is playing out on campuses across the country. Welcome back. After a sprint to vaccinate as many people as possible, Toronto's vaccination campaign has now slowed to a crawl. Getting shots in the arms of those who are still reluctant is crucial, but the strategy has shifted. Joanna Remiliotis looks at how the vaccine push in Canada's largest city is zeroing in on the hesitant.
It's 5:30 a.m.
Okay, I think we should put one here.
and this pre-dawn blitz at a Toronto subway station is targeting Latino workers. Sebastian Mendoza Price and Fernanda Yanchapachi put up posters to promote an upcoming vaccine clinic. In the race to vaccinate, this is the final grueling stretch. And Fernanda says it's all about finding the final holdouts.
Why is it important for you to come here?
We cannot rely on social media or the radio. We have to go where the workers are, the spaces that they visit, the places that they transit, where we can find as many people as we can. Información sobre una clínica de vacunación.
The strategy is hyper-local, hyper-focused.
Información sobre una clínica
But
de
it's part of the
vacunación.
bigger
Buenos días.
goal to get 90% of eligible residents in Canada's largest city double vaxxed.
Hola, buenos días. Tenemos una clínica de
And that
vacunación.
means breaking down any barriers that still remain.
Hola, buenos días.
Being out there before 7 a.m. is really important to establish a relationship of trust. And then speaking to folks in their language, that kind of also allows them to maybe ask some questions, which I think helps build community support and trust.
Building trust in communities with lagging vaccine rates is key. About 340,000 people in Toronto don't have both shots. About half of those don't even have one. In the Latino community, undocumented workers are among those least likely to get vaccinated. At this clinic, there's no need to present a health card, and there's no language barrier either. Wilfredo Rivieros is getting his first dose. Many people we meet on this day are too. Like Fausto and Dalia Caudelo, who came here right after someone handed them a flyer in Spanish.
Sí, es la primera. Tenía problema por ponérmela o no si tenía el seguro.
It's our first shot, he says. We didn't know if we would be eligible to get one.
Problema y por eso accedí a ponérmela.
Lack of access has been an ongoing concern. So is lingering hesitation. Jorge Filmas is a scientist volunteering with the Latin American COVID Task Force. Misgivings, he says, are still largely rooted in misinformation about vaccine safety.
Okay. You have to be persistent and say, okay, what are your questions? What are your doubts? And try to explain that and in plain language and trying to, reach to, what is the side that people will be more receptive, trying to find what is it that really will click and make them really change their minds.
It can be a lot of work, and it comes down to getting to one person at a time.
People will see something like this and they'll see all the effort, and maybe they'll get 10, 20 people here tonight. So to you, is it worth all the...
Yes, it is, because there is still, I would say, probably a larger number of people that we can convince them. I'm optimistic, and slowly, but we are doing that. But, now it's slow. It's one by. You're winning people one by one, as opposed to before they were, by the thousands.
Among the holdouts, there are anti-vaxxers who won't be convinced. But the hope is most people who are hesitant can be swayed. Many live in racialized communities with higher rates of essential workers, areas that have been disproportionately affected by COVID.
Hello, we have Pfizer, Moderna. We need your vaccine.
That data is driving this final, precise push. The City of Toronto is setting up pop-up clinics at subway stops in those communities to make it that much easier for people to stop and get a shot, and to remind the reluctant of what is at stake. And it is a race against time and variance. Cases in schools are spiking. In some hard-hit areas, it's come down to identifying residential buildings with lower vaccine rates and parking mobile clinics in front of them.
Sometimes it's difficult to make time, so this was, I'm on my way to work and it's just, okay, let's do it.
It can be slow going because the same old doubts have set in for longer.
They go door to door.
Karma Lamo is with the neighborhood organization in Thorncliffe Park.
Some people had concerns about the way it was rolled out. They think it was too fast. They have doubts with government or just being told what to do. But we talk about COVID cases, we talk about how the Delta is spreading, we talk about how people are reacting who are vaccinated versus non-vaccinated. So people tend to come around after the end of the conversation.
Are you surprised that at this point people are still hesitant?
I'm not, because this is a public health issue. When I get vaccinated or I'm maxed, I'm protecting you. I'm not just thinking about myself. So I think if that thinking were to change, that would make a difference.
Hello, how are you doing?
And all this could make all the difference, could tip the scales and get to herd immunity. At an evening clinic in another vulnerable part of town, the tone is informal, inclusive, and as night sets in, the lines do get longer. Volunteers Fernanda and Sebastian, who have been at it from dawn to dusk, say they'll keep going.
When you're protected, then it's also a way to build that power and that confidence within our communities.
It has been an awful 18 or 20 months since the pandemic started, and a lot of people have died. I want to make sure that no more people die, that everyone is protected.
There is no clear finish line in this final lap, but there is an urgency to get there, one strategic shot at a time. Joanna Rumaliotis, CBC News, Toronto.
Now, of course, doctors are on the front lines of the push to vaccinate. Coming up, I'll speak to two of them about the strategies they use and whether herd immunity will ever be within reach. Welcome back. It has been 9 months since Canada began its nationwide COVID-19 vaccination program. Since then, more than 79% of those eligible have received 2 doses, which is pretty high compared to most other countries. But as doctors have warned, and as we've seen from the latest wave of infections, it's certainly not enough to end the pandemic. So let's try to understand a bit more the cause, the stakes, and the solution to the problem with 2 doctors joining us right now. We've got Dr. Warda Iqbal, a family doctor who also spends time in the community providing information, help, and guidance to those who have yet to get the vaccine. We also have infectious diseases specialist, Dr. Suman Chakrabarty, joining us. Hello to both of you. So, you know, we saw in Joanna's reporting a whole variety of perfectly understandable reasons why people might opt not to get the vaccine. But I'd like to hear from both of you. What have you learned from your conversations with those people? Dr. Iqbal, maybe I'll start with you.
Sure. Hi, Andrew. Thank you for having me here today. So I guess the first thing is I don't really like to use the term vaccine hesitation as much as I like to talk about instilling confidence when it comes to these vaccines. What I've been finding, especially through my work in the community, is that there are a number of reasons that people might not have this confidence. And 2 of the things that I've been seeing a lot, especially in the last couple of months, are number 1, might be mistrust, which comes from experiences that people have with the healthcare system, whether that's here in Canada or maybe it's back home with that healthcare system. And I think number 2 is just trying to sift through the amount of information that's out there. It's hard for people to be able to navigate the information that's coming at them so quickly, and this could be because of maybe people are busy, they're doing double shifts, they're essential workers, or it might be because it's in a language that they don't necessarily understand. And I find that these 2 are the most common reasons that people still don't have the confidence that they should have at this point in the vaccine.
And Dr. Chakrabarty, what have you learned, or have you been surprised by anything that your patients have told you?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the biggest surprise is, and it shouldn't be a surprise at this point, is most people are not against taking the vaccine. They just want to sit down and have a conversation about it. And the surprising part is I'm sitting there ready often with numbers and figures, but it's not that. They just want to have the conversation, feel like they've been listened to, and have reassurance coming from somebody who knows what they're talking about, which I guess would be me. But the point that I'm trying to make is that if you have the compassion and alleviate concerns, this really does help a long way in reassuring people that it's safe and get the vaccine.
Speaking of numbers, Dr. Chakrabarty, we heard Joanna refer to, you know, the idea of herd immunity. Do we even know what that magic number even is nowadays, given how transmissible Delta is?
Absolutely. This number is much higher than it was before. And, you know, this is a dynamic situation. This is a model that we use, but it's around 90% in terms of immunity that can be from the vaccine, or it can be from natural immunity as well. But it's much higher than with the classic COVID. It's something that's going to be harder to obtain. We will get there at some point, but we do have some work to do.
But I guess it's funny to think that herd immunity is very much a local concept, right? It only matters on a local level, not really so much on a national level, right?
Absolutely. I mean, what we're seeing across Canada is an aggregate of many, many different processes happening in different parts of the country. So, you know, when you look at it, you can get a herd immunity in an area, it can change, and you can get it across the country eventually. But the point is, yes, you have to look at what's going on in the geographical region, go to the problems that are there, address them. And the main thing is get vaccinated. That's our best defense that we have.
So, Dr. Iqbal, what works in those conversations that you have with your patients, just in terms of, you know, arriving at some kind of joint common understanding about how best to approach the question of vaccination?
Yeah, so what we've been finding is that what we have been doing recently is we're doing a bunch of pop-ups that really brings the vaccines closer to people. So we've been doing pop-ups when it comes to buildings in the lobbies. We might be at an intersection somewhere, just setting up shop there. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to build confidence by bringing vaccines to the people and trying to make it more convenient for them. Furthermore, I think what we're trying to do is we're trying to create a space where people don't feel judged. They feel like they have a safe space. I think we really need to understand that when it comes to lack of confidence, it comes from a set of beliefs, from a set of values, and we need to be in a position where we can respect that. having a conversation where we listen to them as opposed to talk to them. And when this is done in a way where people don't feel judged and they feel like it's an informal conversation, really opens up the doors to be able to have these conversations and move towards building that confidence.
Well, clearly there's so much more time needed to have a fulsome conversation about this, but this is a good start. Thank you, both of you, for your time. Really appreciate that.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Andrew.
Well, mandatory vaccination on campus is a reality for many post-secondary students this fall.
On campus, there is no physical enforcement whatsoever, so it is confusing.
As you're going to hear, not entirely smooth sailing. We'll explain why.
I'm Jamie Poisson, and tomorrow on CBC's daily news podcast, Front Burner, TikTok's obsession with the murder of Gabby Petito and the amateur online detectives trying to crack the case. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome back. Lots of post-secondary students across the country are physically back in class, and in some cases, showing proof of vaccination has become part of normal campus life. But as Deanna Sumanak-Johnson shows us, despite pledges by schools to make campuses safe, some students don't feel they're being protected.
Do you mind filling out our self-assessment?
Sure.
Thank you. Seneca College was the first post-secondary institution in Canada to announce a vaccine mandate, so it's had more time than others to work out how to enforce the new policy.
Before I come to campus, I typically do it like while I'm in my car. I fill out the self-assessment. So I answer all the 5 screening questions, make sure I get a green check mark.
A daily self-assessment and proof of vaccination must be uploaded to a smartphone app linked to each student's account. These scanning stations are posted at entrances of different campus buildings, with a security guard keeping close watch.
All you have to do is scan it and you will be granted access to campus. I'm good to go to campus.
Good to go.
Let's
Okay,
go.
excellent.
A similar system exists at the University of Winnipeg, where fully vaccinated students get a green sticker on their student card.
Students are generally supportive of this program. They want to stay safe and they don't want another outbreak and for classes to be interrupted. The system seems like it's pretty good.
But not all students across Canada feel that way. Many university campuses are sprawling with many different entry points, like this one at the University of Toronto. Many people here, including faculty, say the university doesn't have a very thorough system of checking proof of vaccination.
This first-year student at the University of Ottawa agrees. From what she's seen, there's too much reliance on the honor system.
It is slightly concerning just because they do claim through their emails and their posts that they are to be enforcing it and that it is mandatory. However, on campus, there is no physical enforcement whatsoever, so it is confusing.
Just the latest problem colleges and universities are facing as they struggle to get students back in class as the fourth wave rises. Deanna Sumanak-Johnson, CBC News, Toronto.
Okay, when we come back, Yukon is loosening COVID restrictions, and that means great news for 9 feisty seniors and lifelong friends. They finally get to dance with an internet sensation coming up in tonight's Moment.
That cake is beautiful.
This is a showstopper.
That looks stunning.
I am speechless. Wow. I don't even know what to say.
CBC News app is your source for election news as it happens.
Well, the pandemic has certainly canceled or delayed meaningful get-togethers for so many Canadians. But for one group of seniors, the loosening of restrictions means a little more than finally catching up. All originally from Saskatchewan, they've scattered across the country over the years, but one of the gang, now living in Yukon, has brought the girls back together, and it's our moment.
About a year ago with COVID, I sent one of his video links to all 8 of them, just for their, interest, and they loved him.
Jan Clippert and her friends are huge fans of Gurdeep Pandher, Bhangra dancer and viral internet sensation of the Yukon.
So I thought part of their trip to Whitehorse, I would surprise them with a visit to Gurdeep.
And that's exactly what they did.
He said, the 9 of us need to get together for a birthday party. So we contacted the other 7 girls and they said, yep, we're for it. And they all came back to Yorkton and I hosted the first party. And from there, we decided we had to do it every 2 years.
It was such a sweet moment. It was a very touching moment for me. I loved the whole experience. We did Bhangra session and they did great.
It was great. It was like no time at all had passed. We just picked up where we left off.
So speaking of time passing, I love the backstory here. They're all graduates of the class of 69, I believe it was. They got together for a reunion, many moons later, decided they just had to keep doing it over and over again. Every other September, they try to meet. And yeah, I'm no Bhangra expert, but looks like they did pretty well. That's the National for the September 22nd. Have a great night.